how we came about this story is actually through Mike, our news director. Someone emailed him and was like, hey, you know, I think a story that you guys should really look into is people speeding aggressively on 787 between Albany, where we are right now, and Green Island, which is where we're headed to. He said there's between 7 and 8 in the morning, there's people aggressively weaving in and out of lanes, speeding really fast, and he said it goes unchecked by police. And Mike was like, you know, we should really look into this. So Mike bought us a radar gun. And when we finally got started, it was like boots on the ground, we were ready to go. Me and Anthony, our photog, went out like 4 times at several different parts in that stretch that the guy was talking about between Albany and Green Island. We went to like an exit, we went over a ramp one day, people going south on 787, going north on 787, seeing if there's any differences between it.
And that was all at the same time?
It was all this month in March, all between 7 and 8 a.m., what the guy asked, because, you know, if he's saying that, we got to investigate it that way. The speed limit, which you see right there, is 55. And most people we noticed were going about 10 miles above the speed limit, the majority of people. We saw one guy going like 91. We saw some people going in the 70s, a couple going in the 80s. We talked to the sheriff and he was like, honestly, you brought this to our attention, and thank you for doing that. He was like, what we've noticed at the sheriff's office in Albany County is that a lot of people are speeding or like just don't remember the road rules after the pandemic. He's like, people have worked from home for 2 years. Now they're starting to go back to work. We're seeing more people on the road. And he's like, we've noticed people are speeding a little more, you know, not following the road rules and everything like that. Sheriff Apple, the Albany County Sheriff, he was the one who recommended for us. He was like, hey, you know what, to provide a different aspect, a different, you know, angle of the story, why don't you do a ride along with one of our deputies to see what the difference is, what they see when they're out on the road. We kind of had a conversation. I was sitting in the back seat of the car and then she was in the front seat, and we kind of just talked to her about like, okay, what do you see when you're on the road? What are you looking for? How do you track people's speed? You know, what do you notice are problems areas on 787? You know, if you notice someone is going over the speed limit, when do you stop them? What do you say to them? When will you give somebody a ticket? Things like that. I really think people are more cognizant when they're driving. You know, take away from the story like, oh, you know, there is a lot of people speeding out on the road. Maybe I should be more cognizant as to what's the speed limit on the side of the road. You know, where are some of the problem areas? What they need to know so they don't get pulled over, basically, is really what I'm hoping that people get out of this story.